All right. And after country comes all of the people that make the Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation possible. To all of our members, our special partner institutions, senior special partner institutions, corporate members, and individual members, to all of you who make the Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation possible, thank you. Our foundation is a non-profit member-supported organization, and without your generosity and support, we would not be able to bring you our sessions every 2 weeks and do what we do. If you're joining us this morning, thank you so much. We're very glad to see you bright and early once again. If you are joining us 2 weeks later through our social media uploads, hello, wherever in the world you are, whatever time you may be. We hope that today's session brings you a lot of value. If you are somebody who is interested in the aquaculture industry, if you're interested in setting up your own business, already run a business, or are looking to improve, or you'd like to share your particular story, the comment section is wide open down below, and we'd be very happy to hear from you. If today's session brings you enough value that you'd like to support us, we'd be very happy to have you on board. Our links are in the description. Send us an email, and hopefully we can see you. We can see you soon as a member of the foundation. Anyway, so without further ado, I'd like to invite our chair, Mr. Ernie Ordonez, to introduce our speaker first.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm delighted that this is our last session. It's going to be a very powerful session. And powerful because, well, I'll give you a little sideline. Both speakers have a relationship to my dearest daughter. Why? Well, first of all, when they gave the announcement about this, they didn't give the background. We look at the background. Background is totally fascinating. One person, one of the two, her name is Marivis Ong Mirasol. It's like my daughter, but they did 3 degrees. She did Bachelor of Science in Biology, Science, right, nephew? Then went on to Doctor of Medicine. That's impressive as it is. But in addition, she has something called Masters in Marine Biology and Biotech in UP Diliman. Imagine from the medicine to the technology, correct? Okay. My daughter did the same thing. She has undergrad in biology, master's in UP environment, blah, blah. And she's doing nursing, not doctor of medicine, right? But it's fascinating, right? That you went through all these degrees. The second one is Lisa Wood, C, no? Outstanding again, trained here in America, right? Here it was in LaSalle, the other school. I went to LaSalle, not in UP, yeah, that good guidance. And then went to expertise. Use this for childhood education, so important in our country. And went on, she's a certified infant caregiving trainer, a trainer with an American group. So she's really fantastic. And for both of them who are so skilled in the guidance, counseling, medical, for them to go into this topic, which is needed so much in the country. We need doctors, of course. We need people who are good in child counseling. But we need people who create jobs, which is what our foundation is. And they're going to doing, as you have read, no? Sustainable tilapia farming, okay, transforming Philippine agriculture, aquaculture. Our country, has many islands, but, the seas are already depleted because of some commercial fishers coming in and getting all these fish, right? The West Philippine Sea is in trouble. The future is aquaculture. And they're doing not just aquaculture in tilapia, but transforming it. And the name of the organization is fantastic, right? Because it gives us insight into what they're doing to get all these expertise, all these fields, getting into an area which we need very badly. All right. And basically, Primate, right? Primate, really pioneer. What does it stand for? Pinoy Innovating New Technologies, emphasize Pinoy, their own Pinoy new technologies in the aquaculture system, in the system. The problem is a system thing, right? So it's my honor, privilege, and joy to introduce two powerful women. Women are really powerful, right? They say women are wiser than men, not because they know more, but because they understand more. They go deeper. These people go deep. And I'd like to start by saying, first, give us your, since this is supposed to be interactive, we want a relationship, even from those, coming from abroad. They're 1,500 now a month, separate people, 1,500 a month. We'd like to give you your number, phone number, please. Phone number, we start with that. Then after you give your number, because you want people not to go through a bureaucracy, but to go straight to you. After you give your number, give us like 5 or 8 minutes how you got into this, why you're passionate about this, how you got into this, because your inspiration and direction might also inspire us, right? 5 to 8 minutes, your personal background, because we want a personal relation with you. We don't just want to see outstanding people. We want to know how you got into it, right? Get a personal element. And then after that, when you do this is not just a lecture mode, this is an action mode. Our department chair said, your job in ABCD is not just to give information, but to get that information into action. We want coverage aviation. How we, the audience, can help you and maybe help ourselves put all your expertise into more action, such as perhaps linking to banks, linking to entrepreneurs, linking to government bureaucracy, because we know them, etc. So repeat, number one, your phone number. Number two, 5 to 7 minutes about your background. And number three, after your lecture or during your lecture, say how we can help you, because that's the objective, for us to get your skill, knowledge, dynamism, creativity into others by us being your satellites, right? To spread the word. So on that note, I'll call whoever comes first in my paper, the one that came out. The first one is really, it's Elsa C, right? So perhaps you can start, unless you want, Dr. Mirasol to start. Okay? So shall I call you first?
Yeah. Good morning, and thank you for the wonderful introduction. I'm actually at awe by everything that you said, and I think this is just like the perfect timing for everything for us to come out and spread and tell people what we're doing. Vivian, if you can share the first slide on the why. Just to give a short background, I'm sure it's very confusing on why I'm in this industry. As Ernie has mentioned, I'm in the education field. So my background is in early childhood education, and also I graduated with a degree in guidance and counseling. So I think it's a passion for me to want to change or to do something with the society, to do my part in bringing value to people. So I don't know if it's a midlife crisis that's going on with me, but then I realized that, changing one person at a time is not enough for me, because I know I can do much, much more. So can you go to the next slide, please? So it started out when I was in college. So we went to this orphanage, and there was this baby that I saw who didn't have any nostril because he was picked up from the trash can. Tas yung nose niya nakagat ng daga. So at that time already, that was 1996. So that's like lots and lots of years ago. I felt bad. Like, we have so much to give in this world, and there's so much that I know that I can give. What can I do now to be able to make all of this materialize? Next slide, please. So I used to work in my husband's family business, and Ong, I call him Ong. He worked with me before in the paint company. And then when I came out from the company, I asked him, what can we do for us to be able to fulfill the dream that I have? I know it's a big task. I know it's gonna need a lot of resources. And that's what he suggested, like, hey, why not go into RAS, since he has a background when it comes to aquaculture. And that's how we started everything. Next slide, please. So yeah, so from that time on, so we started doing our R&D to see, like, if other countries can do fish farming, indoor fish farming, why can't we? So we're now at our phase we're in. We are confident to say that yes, it is viable here in the Philippines. And I'm proud to say that we were able to do it in our own version, wherein we were able to take what is out there in the market and customize it and localize it. And the last slide. So at the end of the day, these are the reasons why I'm doing this. It's for our future generation. These are my children. Um, they're already starting to be part of the business as well. They know their responsibilities. They know the meaning of bringing value to people, and we made this for us to be able to help them, help their generation, and hopefully, you know, help as many people as we can and as they can. So there. Thank you. So now why ePrimet? So if I'm going to start, so who are we? Who's ePrimet? So we are a tech company who's doing aquaculture. Um, so basically what is technology? It's a process of the application of science. And that is why we like what we're doing because it's something tangible. It's not based on opinion, it's based on facts, based on it's a process that came out of this concept. We are a startup with a concept that was driven by passion. So it's really like what I can say, what we've gone through for this business, it's really something unimaginable, like something that I didn't even expect that we would have gone through. But then I'm glad that we did, and I'm glad that we are here where we are right now. So what we've been doing through the past few years is we were testing the theories that we see on YouTube, we've read about it, we've asked about it, and then we put it into actuality. So basically right now our process is scalable because what we've been doing is we've been keeping track records of all our data since the very start. So we're not just selling tilapia. What we're selling is consistent quality, premium tilapia, and I am proud to say that we can actually penetrate the export market, which is also going to be good for our economy. So what's happening right now to the trend of aquaculture? So the realities of our time right now is one, we are in Philippines is in the most we're one of the most vulnerable nations. So we are in the center of all the typhoons, La Nina, El Nino. Um, sorry. Can you go to the next slide, please? The next one. Uh, sorry, Viv. I think you skipped some. So yeah, so sorry. Yeah. So what we're trying to do right now is what we did was to address the current problems of the fish farmers. A normal problem is, when it rains, what happens if there's a big storm, what happens when there's when it's too hot. So we were able to address those problems. And then the way that we addressed it is more scientific based. So then we were able to repeat the results, repeat those processes, and I can say right now is we have consistent results. So again, I was saying, it was a very long journey. We had to revamp everything. We had to not focus on one single problem, but then how can we address multiple problems and then make sure that it doesn't repeat itself? Can you go to the next one, please? So our journey through this whole ordeal will be discussed by my partner, by Sir Ong.
Good morning. Hello.
All right. Go ahead, Sir Ong.
I'll take over from this. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Ernesto Ordonez for that very overwhelming for me uh, introduction. Actually, I prefer now to be called operations officer rather than doctor as for from what I have in my portfolio. Basically, I our team called me Mr. Ong. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of ePrimate, as well as the lead in technical design system design of Raspiness technology. Now, going to my part to share with you, our company is basically doing recirculating aquaculture system. Um, RES, as we call it, is actually a very simple system. Commonly used from different country, first world country, with higher yield of livestock. Now, um, this is essential factor of doing a recirculating system is basically reusing and reutilizing water, which is the main component of aquaculture. Next slide, please. We first started our study in doing this technology in our main office in Marikina. We initiated the first prototype of our technology, which basically focuses on system design. As we all know, our the type of technology is already existing, but what we have in mind is how are we going to make it more efficient um, to be operated here in the Philippines. So we started the prototype and we coded it as a still tank. It's basically a simple 18 cubic meter facility that focuses on technical design, plumbing, water flow, and then the proper drainage that we can use prior to the succession of our experiment. Next slide, please. After which, we perform a transformation from our steel tank to our MG tank. MG tank is basically our code for Mother Goose tank, which implies our second step and different stages in terms of calculation and producing different data that uh, answers all our criteria in terms of production capacity, time and length of growth, accessibility in terms of sourcing and grow out period of the tilapia. Next slide, please. After we came up with enough data with this small prototype, we established our first research and development facility in Indang, Cavite. This is the main purpose of this facility is basically to convert our small prototype into commercially viable scale, and that at the same time we can perform enough um, cultivation and harvest procedure so that we are ready for the full scale commercial scale. Next slide, please. This one is our Marilao facility, Marilao Bulacan facility. Now, this is our first established commercial scale with an annual biomass production of 30 metric tons. The design of this facility is basically all the learnings from our prototype up to the research and development in our Indang facility. And this Marilao facility is basically considered as is the smallest small scale commercial facility in our portfolio. Next slide, please. After which, we built the Santa Rosa Phase 1 and Santa Rosa Phase 2 in Santa Rosa, Laguna. This is another strength of our capacity in terms of commercial viability. This one is a mid-range scale facility designed to operate 160 metric tons annual production up to the maximum of 480 metric tons production if 100% performing. Next slide, please. Now, our last facility that we built is the Bustos, Bulacan facility. This one is our first phase built for 880 metric tons up to 240 metric tons annual biomass production for our stage 1 because this facility is reserved to build three phase in total. Now, next slide, please. Now, Pinas, as it stand out versus traditional farming, why we did this technology, it's actually a disruptive approach of our concept that turns into our business model, providing the idea na in comparison for traditional fish farming, for example, our Santa Rosa Laguna is a 1,500 square meters facility capable of producing up to 480 metric tons. In comparison to traditional fish farming, 1,500 square for Pinas technology, it is comparable, relatively comparable to up to 3.2 hectares of traditional fish farming. That is on a minimum if they can produce or the traditional fish farming can produce a harvest of 3 times annual. And up to 5 hectares traditional fish pond if they will perform 2 harvests annual. Now, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Now, one of the key ingredients for our production capacity is basically lies in 2 parts. One is the facility itself, which covers the grow out tanks and its filtration system. And then the other one is the collaboration of different functions that we have. Now, technically, in every facilities that we have, we only require a manpower of 2 to 4 person per facility to operate a daily activity. Now, that's for the on-site position. However, we also have a team dependent on the data that the on-site people will be producing. We have our office-based personnel, which includes data encoder and data analyst. We also have our training manager in terms of regular key performance indication assessment for every employees. And then, of course, we have a roving team, which includes our coordinators and then technical teams. And as mentioned, for every facility, we only have an on-site personnel of 2 to 4 person. But during our sorting, during our harvest phase and activity, we add more team. That is the one that we are that are assigned to do the sorting and then the harvesting. And of course, we also have our logistics and mobilization plus the repair and maintenance. Now, as mentioned, it is a combination of the facility and then the operational function of all these teams working together. Next slide, please. Now, let me turn over to Ma'am Eliza for the next slide. Yeah.
Where are we right now? we've actually been working with different organizations. So we work with NACA. NACA is the hold on. So NACA is a network of aquaculture centers in Asia Pacific. So they cover all the different countries in Asia, plus Fiji and other islands. So what we're doing with them right now is called the Nature-Based Solution in Aquaculture Transformation in Asia. Um, so our project with them right now uh, is to gather all the nature-based solutions when it comes to the aquaculture, because they're trying to um, I think they're trying to bump up aquaculture in the world, because again, it's a big industry that's not really so much been tapped on yet compared to other food like chicken or pork. So that's a direction of where they're going at right now. And then we've also worked with BFAR. We actually helped in developing the aquaculture development and management plan for 2025 to 2030. And then we're part of the PCAF, the National Tilapia Industry Council. And next year, USAID, we're going to be helping them come up with the RSS for the aquaculture standards. So yeah, and then next, we've also worked with the Singapore Food Agency. So they've come to the facility because Singapore right now, their thrust is to be 30% food secure by 2030. So they've come to our facility and asked us how we can collaborate with them also in that field. With actually their target produce is not tilapia but also sea bass. And then next. So the NACA Director General, Dr. Liano, came to our facility in Bustos, and he said that what we're actually doing is nature-based. So the operations, the management, how we're doing our system is incorporating nature-based solutions. So they have a incoming project by let me check by April of next year, we're going to be presenting in China what we are doing right now here in the Philippines when it comes to the aquaculture. And then next is BFAR. So we've been collaborating with BFAR also. And oh, so, and then after BFAR, we have the SIFDEC. Next slide, please. Yeah, so SIFDEC, so they had the training for the Southeast Asian delegates. So they had participants from Cambodia, from Laos, from Thailand, Vietnam, to see where the Philippines is right now when it comes to the aquaculture industry. And also, we're going to be collaborating with the Fish Corps project that's under BFAR. So Fish Corps project is basically a grant to different fish farming industries that can help boost the industry right now. And then the next one is a partnership with the Japanese corporation. Sir Ong, since he's the one handling the operations, I think he can elaborate more on that.
Mr. Ong?
So sorry. Next slide, please. Now, one of the things that is in line with our goal is to for a future advancement in terms of what we currently have right now. Our partnership with this Japanese company, Acing Technologies, primarily producing equipments in terms of um, leading manufacturers of electrical components. They have visited us to come up with a new aquaculture venture for utilizing what they have right now. Basically, next slide, please. One of their um, focus af- outside the electronics and components is aquaculture technology. Right now, they are performing an aggressive approach in terms of suppression technology by using a radical generator. It's basically a new concept of how they can improve water filtration to bacterial and viral level of quality assurance. Hopefully, in terms of our goal to do an advancement of our current setup, that this partnership with the Japanese company will provide us with a better output. As mentioned, one of our focus is to do a better quality and best quality actually, and with a higher percentage of production. And by means of this new application in terms of water filtration, it will surely develop a better output for us. Now, next slide, please. In terms of quality, as we all know, Japanese people have a general tendency to do a very high um, expectation in terms of their fish. That's why when they came up with testing and analysis, both bacterial and viral diseases, as well as different tests from our produce, they're merely satisfied with the output. Next slide, please. Now they are the one who initiated the concept of re evaluating their source in terms of white white fish supply in their country. Next slide, please. Having this roadmap with this Japanese partner, our current project alone consists of producing the quality that they require, odorless, and then the light taste that they're looking for their fish quality. And then currently, we have an ongoing study of assessment and evaluation in terms of safety and security of our produce by implementing different technologies that they have already sent us. One is the rapid freezing technology, and then of course the suppressions type of technology in terms of water filtration. And then hopefully, once we have gathered enough information and data in terms of their requirements in their country, we would be eventually focused our continuing research in terms of saltwater fish that will be a higher value and higher um, quality that they require from us. Okay, so next slide, please. Amelisa.
So what's our unique selling point? Basically, is the way that we do our procedure. So the way we do things is to make the quality and the consistency of the quality, which is turns to reliability. So that's a difference with what we are doing with our produce from what is in the market right now. It's a consistency of our quality. And we were able to find a way to make a premium product on a consistent basis. We have a system design and strategic operation that works, and we have extensive portfolio in research and continuous development in our system. So we can do different qualities. We can do local quality fish using cheaper feeds, and we can also do quality, export quality. We are actually in partnership right now with an international feeds company because they have the certifications that we would need when we are ready to do export. But either locally or internationally, what we can guarantee is our consistency of our quality and our reliability when it comes to our production. So our unique selling point also is we're making aquaculture investable. The problem with aquaculture is there's no guarantee because it's very what can I say? It's nature dependent. So that's what we've tried to come up with to not make it nature dependent. And that is why also we're having a hard time in the aquaculture industry because there's no consistency, especially now, especially now that the climate change is really, off the charts. It's really everywhere. So we were able to find a way to make it premium and then consistent, and that is what we're capitalizing on right now. So our company is here not to share theories, but to whoever is interested in aquaculture, what we are sharing is our actual years of experience, and that would save you years of trial and error as well. Next slide, please.
Now, our company basically perform a feasibility studies, design, construction, supervision, and then the management services. Now, all these, um, we have already a templated procedure for every process that we do. Now, the difference being is depending on the property that we will be going to establish, the facility will have certain modification to come up with a better and efficient output that can be utilized accordingly. Next slide, please.
So I think as I have mentioned a while ago, everything is also about timing, no? So right now the food market is sure to go to continue to grow. And we are living in a period wherein people are more discerning when it comes to their food. So they're willing to pay more to know that the source of their food comes from a safe and secure place. And of course, the taste is always a plus right now. And we at ePrimet, we pride ourselves that we are with fully equipped with our advantage of learning and implementing our very own system that has enabled us to focus on the continuous growth and expansion of, with the goal of becoming the game changer, the disruptor in the aquaculture industry, and to be able to utilize the business to support the government in its drive to address the food security in our country. Next slide, please. Sir Ong.
Go ahead, continue.
Sir Ong.
Continue on, Liza.
Okay, so this is just this picture are the current fishes that we have here in the market. So from the Hagonoy market, from Binaonan, in our fish. So we just wanted to give a side-by-side comparison of the difference in the quality that we're talking about. So to conclude, last slide, please. So good nutrition is a foundation for economic prosperity. Investment in nutrition are highly cost effective. And that's what we are trying to do. That's a value that we're trying to build here. And hopefully, um, it's something that, we are excited to do, excited to bring and see where it takes us. So that's the end of our discussion, of our presentation. Thank you.
So Vivian, please call the first question.
Hi po. Miss Jingling Tanco, would you like to ask the question po?
Wow, we'd love to hear. She's brilliant. Yeah, she's a little bit older, but she's a fantastic lady. She's a revolutionary. Yeah, Chingling, we want to hear your voice. There we go.
Yeah, hi. No, I was just looking at the slides. I was trying to figure out what is so different about the tilapia. Number one, it is freshwater, right? You are cultivating in freshwater.
Yes,
Right.
ma'am. Correct po. Yes po.
So what, you showed the picture of the three tilapias kanina. What was the difference? We couldn't tell. I mean, there was a photograph, but we couldn't tell what we were looking at.
We're actually trying to just provide you with a basic comparison in terms of tilapia. Now, to highlight, currently right now, we have a three general perspective in terms of categorizing tilapia. Different sources, different location in terms of grow out, and then the quality, if referred. Now, just say for example, to give you an idea, kapag ka po sinabing uh, tilapiyang Batangas. Yan yung harvested from Talisay area, Laurel. Still fresh water, but at the moment, ito po yung may highest farm gate price in terms of tilapia category. Now, kung makikita niyo po dun sa left side ng picture that was presented in our picture, the color variation in terms of uh, Batangas quality, the higher quality tilapia available in the Philippines is relatively the same with our produce. Now, pag makita niyo po yung sa may Binangonan, which is basically considered as the lowest farm gate price available uh, tilapia price range. Ang common na makikita dito is yung kulay po ng internal organs nila. So you will observe a variation in terms of darker intestine, darker internal cavity of the fish as compared to the left side pictures that we have. Now, in terms naman sa Hagonoy area or dito sa mga northern area na produce, makikita rin po ninyo yung difference in terms of internal organs nila, particularly the intestines, with different um, possibility of this type of output. Like for example, bakit mas darker yung intestine ng mga nasa Binangonan side or yung mga Binangonan na tilapia, and why are they cheaper as compared to Binangonan and the northern area na harvest? Basically for Binangonan, hindi kasi sila nagkakaroon ng commercial feeding doon sa grow out nila. So, relative na kinakain nila is what's available in Laguna Area Lake. As compared dun sa may Hagonoy na they do normal type of feeding and then they also do commercial feeds approach. So, ito po yung tinignan natin anggulo na we were hoping na makita in terms dun sa quality nung produce na ginagawa natin.
Okay, so but how do you compare with the Batangas? You said right now Batangas is getting the biggest premium. I see that it's the same dark colored um, tilapia, and plus because the Batangas one is in cages, then you do not or ever have the muddy taste issue unless there's an outbreak on algae. So how is your product different from
Now,
Batangas
in
one?
terms of production, one of the things that we have is basically the timeline of growth. That's number one, because basically timeline of growth for Batangas production covers up to 5 months to 6 months for the 300 grammers or the 3 to 4 pieces a kilo of fish, whereas compared to our production, we can reach the 250 grammer up to 300 grammars in as short as 3 months to 4 months period. That's number one. Now, number two, uh, we all know in aquaculture side, color defect that basically dictates the price of tilapia. The darker the color of the tilapia, they will correlate it as harvested from Batangas area. So that will give them a confidence to purchase it in a higher price range.
Mm.
Now, as you can see in our picture, our produce is on the darker side of the external features of the tilapia. Now that's for the second. And then the third, for Batangas, although they are the highest farm gate price of tilapia in the Philippines. They are also a season wherein there's an algal bloom. There's the depletion of oxygen concentration in the area of production that causes a earthy taste of the fish. So that's one of our difference in terms of the quality. We can do a year-round production without um difference in the in our quality.
Okay, thank you. Last one, I guess. Usually with people who are growing tilapia commercially, they either choose growth or fillet yield. Um, I know that traditionally the Philippine tilapia has gotten fillet to deep skin, skinless fillet as low as 29%, where Indonesia can grow it to almost maybe 900 grams and get a yield to fillet of about 38%. Which growth, which species did you choose in your product, in your selection? And where is your seedlings from? Your fry.
Our main breeder comprises of a strain directly from CLSU, the Central Luzon State University, covering the uh, two genetics line of Fast or the NN Excel. So our yield for fillet, as we have in our data, is a 500 grammars of tilapia production, tilapia produce will yield us 30 to a maximum of 30 to 35% of fillet fish on.
Skin on.
Sorry, skin on.
Skin on. And if you had to take the skin and deep skin it, because what you produce for Japan is the skinless, but I guess you make the color red, right, to remove the darkness.
Um, it's slightly lighter, like for example, maximum of 28 to 30%
Deep
yield
skin, yeah.
for sashimi level
Okay.
production.
So your main production is what size?
Our main production right now is a 250 grammars, that 250 to 300 grammars. We call it locally as 4 pieces a kilo to 3 pieces a kilo.
Because your main target right now is the local market.
Local market, ma'am. Yes po.
And are you way below? Because we know that the aquaculture guys were asking for 100 pesos farm gate price for tilapia, which is very difficult because you know China is very cheap. Indonesia
Right.
is somewhere in the middle between that and the 100 pesos. Are you able to make money at say 75 or 60 pesos per kilo on a half kilo?
Right now, in terms of cost to produce, we have an average of the 50%, right? Um, value for an 85 to 90 pesos farm gate price.
Oh, that you can make money. You're about 50% of that in cost.
Yes,
Fantastic.
to the level of yung higher production per facility.
Fantastic. Okay, that's for the 250 gram size, yeah?
Yes, madam.
Oh, sige. All right. Okay, now we'll be interested in talking to you on the half kilo up. I suppose you can do the Ikajima cut and do premium since you're trying to go for the premium sashimi market, right?
That's our future goal, yes, ma'am.
Sige. Okay. Maybe we can help you that for local and export market.
Thank you po, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, Chingling is also an expert in import. She knows global very well. So thank you, Chingling, for follow-up. Okay, Vivian, call the next question, please. We have one more question, then we have to end it. And then start the informal session. Can you have one last question, please, Vivian?
Sir Melcor Virata, would you like to ask your question po?
Melcor, welcome. Please ask the question.
Yes. Yeah, good morning to all. I tried tilapia during pandemic, no? Small scale RAS. Doon sa question, kasi I watch yung eMate and they have a YouTube, no? I followed their methods. Pero ang lumabas, bansot yung ano ko eh. Tapos ang sagot ni Mr. Ong, it might be the water, you know. Pero sinunod ka, we have a mechanical, tapos yung what's this yung marami na kaming ginawa, and then ang sagot niya it's the water, you know, baka water. Pero ang tinignan ko sa Poland, they're producing a lot of tilapia. Yung kanilang one method nila to increase yung production per square meter is to increase yung oxygen concentration. So ang ginawa ko, I bought a root blower from China, very cheap. Tama ba yun, Mr. Ong?
Technically po yung idea to increase oxygen will definitely help in terms of yun dun sa grow out period. Now, isa kasi dun sa mga consider outside of course dun sa context na kaya ko first na na-mention is sa water quality is like for example, during your grow out period, did you happen to have a regular check-up using water parameter test kit para ma-identify po natin kung ano ba yung nagiging output ninyo pagdating do sa quality ng tubig. That's number one. Number two, of course, is yung type of feeds na binibigay ninyo. And medyo mahaba-habang discussion pagdating dun sa output in terms of feed conversion ratio and then a quality and type ng feeds na piniproduce ninyo or binibigay ninyo dun sa mga isda. And then one other factor that we can add on to is the idea of saan nyo po nakuha yung fingerlings ninyo. Would you consider na nakita yung mga breeders ng mga fingerlings para makita natin kung anong generation or anong strain specific yung naibigay sa inyo na fingerlings or yung na-source ninyo? Or possibly na take in consideration po ninyo na isa dun sa mga way to increase yung I mean to get a better result in terms of grow out is using the sex reverse tilapia na kumbaga formulated focusing on growth rather than conditioning for breeding.